Hey, what's good YouTube? This is a Scythe control deck profile. It's heavily influenced by Corey McDuffie and the build that he played. There's a few differences that I made though, just to suit my playstyle. I hope you guys enjoy. So, to start things off, 3 of Traptrix Mamelio. Mamelio is outrageously good. It's simple Yu-Gi-Oh! You fetch the trap card, it goes to the grave, and then you bring it back with this guy. Dionea. Dionea, bring back the Mamelio, pop a card, XYZ. It's always good. Even bringing back a trap card's not the worst thing in the world. Next up, we run the Artifact Engine, so that is 1 Beagle Attack, 2 copies of Scythe, and 1 Morale Attack. Don't know why I'm reading from right to left. Anyway, 2 copies of Scythe. Scythe is extremely relevant. We're in a pendulum format and you can stop your opponent from pendulum summoning. Beagle Attack is the shit one that no one wants to play, but you kind of have to, unfortunately. Next up, little Clown Engine. We run 2 copies of Juggler, 1 Trick Clown, and 1 Hat Tricker. Hat Tricker is usually always relevant, and sending the damaged Juggler off Brilliant Fusion is no joke either. Next up, we run 1 copy of Garnet. Now, I did originally have this at 2, but I dropped it to 1 because I open it more than is natural, humanly possible. Don't know why, it's just always there. So I even switched to a DT copy, hopefully I'll see that less. And in testing, I never see this card, so that's fucking amazing. And 1 Thunder King. Key difference from Corey's list. He talked about this card and how good it was, he sided it. I chose to main it, just because Thunder King plus back row is 2012 Yu-Gi-Oh! Reborn, so it's pretty good as well, I'll be honest. Next up, 1 Raigeki. Don't really need to talk about this card. 2 copies of Brilliant Fusion, not 3, I didn't want that many. If I did play 3, I'd have to play a bigger Gem Knight engine, obviously. But this card, it gets your engine rolling, and you can, well, I'll show you some plays that you can do with this card. It's just advantage, advantage, advantage. 3 copies of Ignition. Ignition is an extremely good card. It's basically your MST themed for artifacts, so it gets them out of the deck, blow up your opponent's pendulum scales, blow up their back row, etc. Next up, 3 copies of Upstart Goblin. Upstart Goblin is purely for the consistency of the deck. 3 copies of Part of Duality, another card that Corey didn't run, but I think this card is pretty necessary in this deck because you really struggle if you can't get to the cards which are going to stop your opponent, if that makes sense. This is a very reactive deck. You need to have answers at all times, so seeing this in your opening hand is extremely relevant. Extremely relevant. I can't speak this morning. 1 Solemn Warning says no to pendulums. That's why we play it. 3 copies of Sanctum, one of the most powerful trap cards in the game. It grabs you the Scythe, importantly. Trap holes, because we like holes. Every hole's a goal. There we go. 2 times base, 1 Nightmare and 1 Bottomless. Bottomless answers your pendulum summons, Traptrix, Trap Hole Nightmare answers the effects of the XYZs, and Time Space Trap Hole answers absolutely fucking everything. It's godly. 2 Call the Haunted. Call the Haunted, bring back a Mamelio, that's pretty good, blow up a back row. Bring back Thunder King, pretty good, mistake on legs, and bring back Scythe, your opponent can't pendulum summon. And finally, I played 3 Mistake. Corey didn't play this card, but I think I like this card just a little bit too much. I play it in absolutely everything. It's just so good against the meta, and I know what you're thinking. You're thinking, Mamelio searches, Partiality searches. Yeah, but you don't play the cards in that order. No one's fucktarded here. Like, I'm assuming that you know how to flip Mistake. You don't have to flip it on your first turn, you know? Artifact Durandal, we run rank 5s, level 5, sorry, it's awesome. Volcasaurus, again, pretty awesome. Pleiades, probably my favourite rank 5. It's just obnoxious. Just creating a board with this, it's a lot of power. Your opponent has to have Dark Hole Regeki. These two, Ptolemaeus is about to become absolutely ridiculous because of Infinity. Diamond, I'll be honest, is just there as a material to put on it in the end phase. Next up, Ptolemy N7. This was Gaia Dragon the Thunder Charger when I played the regional. The regional I came 14th place, which wasn't great, but just shows that the deck isn't completely dead, you know? Fortress Dragon, enhance a Cosmo because they're obnoxious and ignorant. Any Cosmo players, I have nothing against your deck. I love the artwork. Star Wars, what's not to like? Seraph Knight, we run Brilliant Fusion, you have to run this card. That's common sense. And Dagosto Emerald, best card in the extra deck. I'll show you a play with that in a second. Honor Arc, generic removal. Direwolf, Nailing Floodgates. Dweller for days. I'm being very, very quick with this. You should know what Dweller does. It's been relevant for a few years now. Cuts off the grave. Heartland Draco. The choice, believe it or not, was between this and Giant Hand, and somehow I concluded that this would be better than Giant Hand. Don't ask me why. Basically, I had the option to use Giant Hand, but I went with this instead because I thought it was more ignorant, and I just thought Giant Hand didn't accomplish much at all. Cowboy and Castell. Cowboy because sometimes that get a little bit extra when you make a big push. You can get your game, and Castell because it removes threats. Okay, the play that I was talking about. Okay, so what you're going to need in hand, Brilliant Fusion and Mammalia. So, what you do, go ahead and activate summon Mammalia and search off, say, a Trap Hole. It's fine. So now you've got Trap Hole and Mammalia, plus all the other cards in hand. Next, activate Fusion, and off Fusion, send the Juggler. Next, activate the Juggler, banish the Juggler, and oh, I've missed a step. Obviously, you have to send this because if not, it doesn't work. Summon this guy. So this is your grave. Then you activate the Juggler searches you, the Clown. Now you've got the Clown and the Time Space plus everything else in hand. You get an additional normal summon. So you summon the Clown. Then what you're going to do, overlay these two and make Emerald. Now you've got Emerald on the board. You're going to detach the Clown to summon the Garnet because Emerald can do that. Give it a read. And then your Trick Clown is going to activate, so you can summon back the Trick Clown. Then overlay these two into absolutely anything you like. If you need a Dweller, make a Dweller. I personally, on the first turn, prefer to make this Ptolemaeus. Stick a diamond underneath it for good measure, and then in your opponent, and then set the time space plus all the other back row you've likely drawn. Imagine your opening hand, you're probably going to have a mistake in there somewhere. Solemn Warning, maybe Artifact Sanctum. So you're going to be setting all that to your back row and ending with a board like that, just to show that this deck has plays. Hope you guys enjoyed, and stay tuned for more content.